Hey there, listener. This is audio producer Robin here. Today, we have a special bonus clip where Free Press writers Dave Birkett, Jeff Seidel, and Shawn Windsor share their immediate reactions to the Lions' win over the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. We hope you enjoy.
Dave Birkett here, along with Jeff Seidel and Shawn Windsor. Arrowhead Stadium, site of the Lions' 21-20 win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, best win I can remember for the Lions in a long time, just with the magnitude of it. First game, banner-raising ceremony, and I think the way that they accomplished it, it sort of says everything that we already kind of knew or figured maybe that these Lions would be.
Well, it's certainly the best regular season. I mean, when can you think of another?
Nothing
since you've been covering this team.
The Packers one last year was a very good win, but I think this one on this stage to start the season, because they didn't make the playoffs with that one this year, this just starts off everything there.
And as Dan Campbell said after the game, he believed this, right? He didn't learn anything new. He learned it was verified, or it got verification. I think was the phrase he used. So that's important too, I think, in a way, right?
It wasn't just the way they played, it was how they responded to some adversity. They did not play a perfect game. They had fumble, botched snap, they had miscommunications, some things they have to clean up. But by the end, it was let's go Lions in Arrowhead. And there were no Chiefs fans. It was Lions fans, maybe 10,000. Chalk it up to something I never thought I would ever see.
Well, here's the other thing, right? I mean, we know the Lions fans have been traveling for decades. God bless you. We're grateful. That's why we're here. I mean, it's awesome. Everybody, right? Then the rest of the country deserves to know about this fan base. But to me, the defense won the game.
Right.
They didn't convert a third down in the second half. When's the last time we were talking about the Lions winning the game defensively?
Shawn, I think you're right. I mean, look, we all figured the Lions would have a good offense, and it wasn't there the whole time today. I mean, they didn't move the ball well. They scored a touchdown after the fake punt, and then they David Montgomery had the one at the end. They grounded out in the 4-minute offense when they needed to. But that defense, which has been the Achilles heel the last 2 years, I think we all looked at it this summer during training camp, and we said they're going to be better. They're much deeper. Maybe they don't quite have those big-time playmakers, but they're a pretty good unit. And then to prove it, even though the Chiefs didn't have Travis Kelce, they weren't 100%. Patrick Mahomes' receivers dropped a lot of passes, but I think the Lions defense came up with big plays when they needed to.
And at a moment in the game when I thought the Lions were going to lose this game, a rookie safety does an amazing play and takes it to the house.
Brian Branch had that interception, returned 50 yards for a touchdown.
Off a deflection, right?
Off a drop pass by a receiver, essentially, right? Hit him in the body. Josh Paschal had the big 3rd-and-1 stop.
Just blew through, right? Like a dolphin breaking the surface of the water. He just took, was unbelievable. It was a little trickery attempt by Andy Reid, by the way, right? A direct snap, and he sniffed it out. And that's the other thing. Dan Campbell, sometimes we think about the way he talks and the rah-rah and all that, but he knows what's coming, right? He sees things. He sees this game at a very, very high level.
Look, I mean, we all know in the NFL these things, right? It's a matter of inches. It's a saying for a reason. Benito Jones nearly jumps offside, probably was offsides. Alexander Saloni said he did a good job of getting back on sides. If the Chiefs snap the ball there, that's a converted first down. Instead, they don't. The snap comes a split second too late. All of a sudden, Paschal makes that play. Then they get him in 4th and 25 on the last drive. I mean, really, to your point, it was one of the better defensive efforts I think we've seen from this Lions team. And last year, the Lions finished the season strong on defense. They look like they picked up not just where they left off, but maybe even better because of the presence of some of those young guys.
Right. And I thought it was interesting what Dan Campbell said after the game about the defense. They knew they were going to get hit, right? And it was, maybe even 3 times in a row, but then you're going to get the stop when they need it on the 4th time. There's a psychological component to me that he was trying to instill in his team, and he clearly did. And I think he also said, hey, look, we knew that he knew his team was resilient to handle this.
But when you zoom back and you think of where this franchise was 2 years ago, where it was even a year ago for the first 6, however many weeks, and you think of what they just did of coming in here on this stage with all the hype.
Super Bowl night, by the Super Bowl ceremony night, right?
Were there, I don't know I guess those were Lombardi trophies. We've never seen them. And to do it in that setting was just remarkable.
But Ryan says, I'm here. How you doing, Ryan? Appreciate you joining us live, by the way. Said the Lions win made his weekend. I mean, I think a lot of Lions fans are going to feel that way. And
Shoot, it made their next 10, 11 days.
That's right. That's right.
They're going to revel in this. That's the beauty. It's just a Thursday night game.
What's going to happen next week at Ford Field? The Seattle Seahawks come in. That place is going to be bonkers. I mean, for the Lions to get a win on this stage. And I'll tell you what the players said in the locker room after the game was, hey, it's won. Like they celebrated it. They were happy, but it wasn't this like champagne popping ceremony. I mean, Chauncey Gardner even said something. I think you were there for that when he said, winners know, right? Like I saw it, right? I'm a winner. I came from Philly where we won some games, and I saw it in the locker room here. And I think that's the way the Lions have carried themselves all along this summer. And I think that's the way they're approaching this win today. Big, important, but not the end all be all. There's 16 more.
Just to clarify what you're sorry, I don't want to be, step on your toes or anything, but he what he was saying is winners recognize winners.
Right.
And we don't know anything of the Detroit Lions that way, but he got here and he's like, oh, there's a winner, there's a winner, there's a winner, looking around the locker room, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, maybe you could say, you can write it off and be skeptical about it. He's just talking. But no, they believe that. Taylor Decker said they came in here tonight, they knew they were going to win.
And some might blame it on the people we're missing, but I don't think.
No. But, we were joking before the game. Arrowhead's a place I don't know that any of us have ever been here before.
20 years
ago. No, I've been in the parking lot across the street. Across the parking lot when the Royals play.
It's where my car is, way on the other side of the parking lot over there. But we were joking before the game that this is a place that we've never been, since we've been covering the Lions. They haven't been here since 2003. And I think you said, the only other one I've been to is Vegas. And that's where the Super Bowl is. And look, we're not saying we're going to the Super Bowl, but the joke that we were joking about before the game was, well, maybe this will be the rematch in Vegas. And
that's what I said
the week that they'll say, well, Kelsey wasn't there for that one, and Chris Jones wasn't there, and they'll all be back. And maybe that's,
It's funny. I saw Vahe Gregorian, you guys, the columnist for the Kansas City Star. I walked up to him and said the same thing. I said, are we going to see each other in Vegas? I actually said Houston because I was thinking it was in Houston. I think that's for the Final Four this year.
Yeah.
My basketball mind.
Go back to last year at the Green Bay game.
Yeah.
Nobody in the league wanted to play him back then.
Right.
At that stage. And so.
Well, I will say that I think, for the Lions to be that team, they're going to need that offense to start clicking again. The offense wasn't there tonight, and whatever it was. I mean, we've talked a little bit this summer about them maybe not having the receivers that they need. Marvin Jones had a drop, had another one go through his hands. Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously had a nice game. Josh Reynolds came up with some big passes. I think Jahmyr Gibbs did some good things. David Montgomery did some good things. So they still have some pieces on offense. Goff didn't throw a pick. So they still have some pieces from offense, but they need that thing to be clicking if they're going to be that team.
Yeah, to me, they missed DJ Shark, right? And I know
that presence.
Right. And he not struggled. He wasn't there for the first part of last year, but once they got rolling,
right,
he was a big part of that. And they don't quite have that. They're banking on Jameson Williams, right? The other thing real quickly about Goff is that Kansas City's got a defensive line that even without Chris Brown is pretty good. Jones, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and they put pressure on him.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's week one, right? The Lions offense isn't where it's going to be. The Chiefs defense isn't where it's going to be. Certainly they didn't have Chris Jones, and that was a factor. But I don't think you can take anything away from this game. Hugely important win for the Lions and where they're at, just the franchise, where this program is, where they want to go. And I think, as you guys said, Dan Campbell said it. Players in the locker room, Taylor Decker said it. They expected to win tonight. They did. They took care of business, and here we are, 1-0.
And my last quick thought is when you and I were talking about during the game, this is the third straight year you've looked and seen rookies out there thinking, right? There were four of them, right? Branch and Campbell, and then you talked about Gibbs and Laporta.
Yeah.
But what does that say, right, to what Holmes is doing, what the front office is doing? I know part of Campbell's involved in some of that, but that, I think, is a difference, too. And now it's starting to become a pattern.
Well, I think that's, the exact right point that, this team is going to be a problem for a lot of teams in the NFL, not just this year, but for years to come. As young as they are, as talented as they are at some spots, maybe we're on the verge of the Lions being a pretty darn good team here.
And look, it's great. Let's spend the next hour trying to find our cars.
Yeah. I got a little bit more to write. I think these guys do too. And then, our cars are somewhere out there. Feels like
I think you're in St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly.
Right down the highway.
Somewhere nowhere close to where we're at right now. But that'll do us for us here at Arrowhead Stadium. Again, the Lions win their season opener against the Kansas City Chiefs. 21-20, 1-0, long weekend for the players. We'll be back next week at Ford Field when the Lions host the Seattle Seahawks. For Jeff Seidel, Shawn Windsor, I'm Dave Birkett for .com.